tell you about G4 claims, because remember this, if you've been in a road traffic accident, it's not your fault. Here is the crack. G4 claims can make it easy for you. This is what they'll do. They're going to provide you with complete accident management support that you require. They're going to recover their costs for the at-fault party. And look, your motor is going to be replaced by a vehicle replacement. It's going to be very much like for like. They're also going to organise your vehicle to be repaired at one of their body shops, which is all approved, and it's going to be sent back to your door. Should your vehicle deemed a write-off, don't worry. They'll recover the pre-accident value for your motor and write you a big fat cheque for it. And best of all, this doesn't cost you a penny, because here's what they do. They charge the at-fault insurance direct. They don't cold call you. They don't buy your data. Once they've processed your claim, your insurance is going to remain unscathed. Nicole and her team out there, they're not going to take your case on if they don't think that you can help. So if you've been in a road traffic accident or you ken somebody that has, get them to get themselves onto G4 claims on 01698 767 172. That's 01698 767 172. Get them at notatfaultclaim.com or find them on social media. They are pretty they're busy on social media these days. They're tweeting away and they're retweeting and all the rest of it. G4 claims, not at fault claims, made easy. Please welcome to Football Daft a man that's no stranger to Scottish football. He had spells at St Johnstone, Raith, Morton, Hearts and Motherwell. He is also the author of the book Life on the Line, How to Lose a Million and so much more. It's none other than Kevin Twaddle. Kevin, mate, how are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it.
What have you been up to? Because obviously it's been the last year for everybody. It's been quite hard. It's been quite difficult. But for yourself, how have you found it? Have you managed to keep yourself occupied? Are you working? What's the crack?
You know what? It's probably been the best time ever. I know obviously I didn't want to see people dying and stuff like that, but now I've kind of changed my life a bit in the last year. I've started doing I've obviously got to Gamblers Anonymous for my gambling and stuff like that, but I started going through a 12-step recovery program that alcoholics normally go through. Started doing that, and you know what? It's led me to just open my life up a wee bit. I've started running, something that I was the laziest boy, mentally, physically. Last year, 17 stone 2, 14.9, just running every couple of days. Mentally, physically, the best thing I've ever done. And these steps have helped me change my life a bit. I didn't like to say all the kind of great things that have happened, because the last year has been difficult for a lot of people. It's been difficult for me as well. I've not worked, but I've been so blessed. I've been able to homeschool my wee girl, things that I would never have been able to do because I'm always busy with my own wee business. So I just feel I've been very, very fortunate, very lucky that the government have helped a wee bit as well, regards self-employed boys that have got their own business and stuff like that. So feeling very grateful.
Tell us a wee bit about that. What is the your own business, Kev? What is it you're doing?
My own business is I'm a painter and decorator. I was a painter before I played football, so I done my apprenticeship, then I worked for a couple of years with a boy, and so I've been a painter kind of all my days.
Excellent.
Do you know what I might know? So obviously you said that you just joined this 12-step program last year. I mean, I know you've highlighted your issues for years and years and years, but was this the first time that you actually addressed it and went to something like the anonymous group that you went to, or was this you kind of getting back to one or whatever?
No, I've been doing meetings since October the 5th, 2004, when I stopped gambling. I've been doing meetings. This was just, you know what? Last year I was in a position where I was a wee bit sick and tired of being sick and tired. Hard to explain, but I'd stopped gambling, but I'd done nothing else. I'd never changed as a person. I was still lying, cheating, manipulating. I just still wasn't a very nice individual. And you know what? I thought there was more to life in that. I wanted to be a better person. And I'd heard this thing. I've heard it all the way through my time in GA. I've heard about this 12-step recovery program. And I tried it in 2016. I got to stay at 4 and chucked it. I wasn't ready for doing it. And it's the greatest thing hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Without a shadow of doubt, it's the most soul-searching 9 months but my word, the best thing I've ever done, for sure.
Wow.
You know what? It's like obviously your story is pretty inspiring. I must admit, I've had a read through, and you've been extremely honest in your book. You spoke about how there just now how you only recently stopped lying and cheating, but obviously back when you were gambling, you were stealing and stuff like that as well. It's for some reason, I don't know why, I never ever seen gambling as an addiction. I always thought of addictions as like drugs, drink, like smoking and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I never ever seen gambling as an addiction because it never affected me, right? But recently, over the past couple of years, I kind of realised that I had a bit of a problem with drink. When I was drinking, it turned me into a horrible person, and I realised it wasn't good for me, so I got rid of it. What was it that finally pushed you? What was it that gave you the slapper across the face, basically? Because I know what it was for me personally, right? But what was it for you that gave you the slap across the face that you said, right, I need to change something here?
I think I've had two situations like that. I had it in 2004. I mean, I tried to commit suicide in 2004, ended up in hospital, really no well. And I'd reached a point in life, I'd lost a relationship and stuff like that. My life had spiraled out of control. I heard words for someone saying to me that you've done so much in life and you've got nothing to show for it. And it came for someone who kind of cared about as well. And it absolutely ripped the heart out of me. And I thought, you know what, I need to stop doing what I'm doing, gambling. I need to change and I need to. But you know what? I spent all the years for 2004. I did stop gambling, but I never changed. And there was a wise old man when I walked into the meetings had said to me, someone who I got really close to, someone who I looked up to, inspired to as well, who died a few years ago. And I spent 6 months after work every day going to see him in the Western Journal. I love the guy, old guy. But he said to me, you know what, if the person doesn't change it, walked in the door, you walk back out the door the same person. And it was an inevitable that I was going to walk back out the door the same person, because I've never changed. I've never done nothing to see why I was an angry person, why I was full of ego, why I had so much pride, I just had all these character defects and I had never really heard of this 12-step program in 2016. And as I said, I thought, yeah, I'll try that. I didn't want to be angry with people. I didn't want to be just a horrible individual. But I just wasn't ready for it. But you know what? Last January 28th, I'd reached a point in my life where everything in my life I'd stopped gambling for all these years, but nothing had changed. And I wanted to change. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get. So I got a sponsor who was in AA, who was an alcoholic. And he's like another fatherly figure to me, someone who's changed my life a bit and gave me an opportunity to be the person I'm today.
Obviously, you've wrote a book, Kevin, but do you think right now there is enough spotlight being put on the old gambling?
I think you're right. You're right what you're saying. I think nowadays is mental health nowadays is kind of huge. I mean, I was at Motherwell, and I mean, I was seeing a doctor for anxiety and depression. I mean, I was living the fucking greatest life in the world. I was a football player. Nobody would have ever seen the turmoil and the horrible kind of feeling inside. Living an emotional roller coaster. I was high as a kite 1 minute, winning fortunes, losing fortunes next again minute, and suicidal. So, you know what? I done my forward with Paul Merson. I went to meet Paul Merson and done my forward as well. And he said something to me back in the day, and I thought, I've never ever seen it kind of in that way. But he said to me, no, you can see somebody coming down the street, you can tell that they take drink. You can see somebody coming down the road, and you can see they take drugs. But you can't see somebody who just lost all their wages and suicidal that's been gambling. And gambling's such a hidden killer. And the worst thing, especially through this pandemic as well, is a lot of people have started going online and doing stuff, and it's the hidden killer.
That's what I was going to say to you at the beginning, Kevin, when Grado was saying how you've been day to day for the pandemic started. I was actually going to mention that must have put extra pressure on you. It really must have, because it's so easy just now to get a bet on, right? Regardless of where you are. You know, if you're sitting at work, you open up your phone, you've got an app, you can stick a bet on. You're in the house, you've got your computer open, go onto the website, you can get a bet on. You can phone up to put a bet on. It's surely. Do you feel that there should be more regulation?
Well, when you're talking about football all the time, obviously my kind of bugbear is, I mean, Scottish football's riddled with Ken Ladbrokes, Willie Hills, all these different things. Yet football players are feared to come out, and I was doing talks with the PFA and stuff like that. There's a lot of players came to me, and there's a lot of players that I deal with privately as well just now that play Premiership in England, people that play in the Scottish Premier League, people that can't come out and say, listen, I'm really struggling, and because the papers get it, and then their names brought through mud. And it's sad that society is a story like that for a paper to be bringing someone to. But you know what? It's not even the person the person you become, but it's the amount of people you take down with as well. I mean, families are ripped apart. I would have left my mum and dad homeless. I hate to say it. I'm the most family boy as well, but I was rife with addiction, and I'd have left them homeless. It wasn't for my dad being a wee bit clever and what my mum was. I'd have left them homeless, and it's such a travesty because you know what? I've had so many amazing times with my mum and dad, morals, values, the way I was brought up, and a low story. Gambling on one hand, addiction in the other. There was ever going to be one winner. So, but listen, anybody can go and put bets on now. Anybody can go and drink. Anybody can go and take drugs. You can. It's unfortunately it is a choice at the end of the day, and it's all right for me to blame Ladbrokes and blame Willie Hills and blame all these. I didn't do that today at the end of the day. I had choices to make. I didn't make all the right choices. I take responsibilities for the things that I've kind of done and to the people that have done them. I've been able to make amends to a lot of people and a lot of places and a lot of things. And so, but it's sad because you know what? People didn't see a way out as well, which is a sad part. But, and as you said, there's one of your friends who goes away and it's horrendous.
What I wanted to ask you, Kev, was what's the connection, do you think, with young football players or any football players at any age with the likes of gambling? You said obviously you had issues with anxiety and depression. Is it that? Is it loneliness? Is it the money that they're getting? Is it the boredom? Or is it all of them? Is it a big factor?
You know what? It's I have to say to you, gambling is an epidemic in life. It's not just in football. Ken, obviously we're on to talk about football, but it doesn't matter what you do. I've watched people in my rooms that are brain surgeons. They're in GA. They're brain surgeons. They're people performing on people's brains, but they've got problems with gambling. And it's every walk of life in football for young kids. It's just it's the culture. See, when I was going in football clubs, the only clubs that didn't have problems with gambling were Rangers and Celtic because they're fully foreign people. Foreign people didn't have they have a different. It's a different. They didn't understand why people would want to go and spend all their money or lose their money. Or Scottish culture, British culture, it's just huge. Gambling's massive, and you find that most foreigners in Scottish football didn't bet. And as I said, I feel for the young kids. You're embroiled in it. You're in the culture. Everybody is talking about it in the dressing room. And Scottish football sitting talking now about, listen, if anybody's gambling on football, it can be any football at all, world football, your own football, whatever football you're gambling on, you're allowed today. I'll guarantee you, most Fridays, if you were to go around all Scottish clubs for the Premier to the First Division, to the Second, to the Third Division, and you were to see who was putting bets on, you'd have no football. Because I'll guarantee you 85-90% of people put football bets on Saturday. Mental.
It's nuts how some of it comes out and some of it doesn't, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I think, obviously, like, for example, for talking sake, like Ian Black, when it happened with Ian Black, it was because he had bet against Rangers. Betting against your own team. Now, straight away, that raises an issue. Now, I don't see the problem in a footballer having a bet as long as they're not gambling against their own team. You know what I mean? I don't think that there's any issues there.
I've got to say, I'd have been jailed. See if it was now, and I didn't say it with any pride whatsoever. It's disgusting. I'd have been jailed. I'd have been jailed for getting booked, for kicking people, getting sent off. I can remember Billy Davies used to say to us, take centres, kick the ball down at the corner flag, and everybody push up and we start the game down there. You can fucking bet in the first corner to go out now. First shy or
that's right.
I'd have been jailed.
Do you remember? I think it was a couple of years ago. There was a junior game or something like that, and one of the bets was for the first throw in to be in the first 10 seconds, and the guy just kicked it straight out for centre, and it turned out that all of the I don't think that there wasn't regulations on the junior game in gambling at the time or something like that, but both teams were on it. Both teams had money on the ball going out in the first 10 seconds. So it's like you said, it would be quite easy if it was as accessible now back then as it is now. It would have been, you'd have been making a fortune. You would have been making a fortune. You know what I mean? And like you said, you'd end up in the jail.
I think years ago I used to say, and people used to laugh at me. This is when I was doing the talks to the PFA. I used to say, you know what? It'll not be long before Scottish football has some thingies for match fixing. It was in Asia, coming to America, came into South America, and it came into Europe. And there's people being investigated in Scottish football now that nobody knows about. There's high-profile football players getting investigated. There's thingies. Their whole phones been taken off from things being just because gambling's huge. It's absolutely.
That's an eye opener. That definitely.
See how it's part of your recovery, right? Sometimes, but surely you must have to sit back sometimes, right, and go. And obviously, you've had your issues, you've had your problems, major problems. But at the end of the day, man, you were a Hearts supporter as a boy, yeah.
Yeah.
You played for your boyhood heroes. You played football at a level that a lot of folk would have would have loved the chance to play professional football. So I think it sometimes you've got to sit down and go and think back to the good memories that when you turning up to Tynecastle to play, and that Saturday must have been brilliant.
To be fair, I mean, I was at Hearts. Fuck, I didn't really perform. To be fair, I mean, that was when my life was fucking out of control, and it was out of control. And I'll never know how well I've done in my football. I didn't know how I've ever done half the decent things I've done in life in football, because I mean, my life was just an absolute. I mean, the way I was spending my weekends, buried and carrying on, and it was all right for people, as you said earlier on. We're sitting talking, someone saying you wear my mask. I had a mask on for every situation that I was in. People loved me. I would think if you went with Mace, people at Mace football clubs all loved me. I was a character, I was a joker, great with women, carrying on, drinking, partying, still performing at the weekends, playing football. But you know what? I mean, my dad, I can remember my dad said to me in 2004 as well. He said to me that it was the most proud. I've never ever seen my dad emotional. I broke down in front of him to tell him I needed help. And he says, you know what? My dad followed me everywhere with the football. All the world he's followed me. And he said to me, you know what's the most proudest I've ever been here? Forget your football, forget everything you've done. And you know what, because of my daughter, probably, it's nice to see these things that people put on. I was having a laugh the other week here. Somebody was doing a wedding for Raith, and they had one of my names as their table, a table, and they were asking if I could come to the wedding and that as well. Your name to be at somebody's wedding and things like that on a table. It's nice. It is really nice to, and because I've got a daughter, it's nice to have like a DVD, like I'm saying all my goals, I never had very many, but all my goals on DVD, scrapbooks. It's nice for all the things in the memorabilia connections my mum and dad kept when I was playing, because I would have had nothing. I wouldn't have kept nothing. I didn't care. So for my daughter, it's nice to see all these nice things. But you know what? I'm more proud of the person on the day rather than the person I was when I played football, to be honest with you. But it was nice. Just listen, I played with Hearts, as I said, my boyhood heroes. But if I was reminiscing through my football career, Hearts is not a club that, and it's a shame, because I've watched them all around the world as well before I played football. I watched them for 6 years as a mad fan. As a club that I didn't resonate any of my good times with. My good times were when I was a captain in the Premier League of Motherwell for 3-4 years, St Johnstone, Raith, Morton, all the clubs I've been at. I've had such an amazing time with amazing people and amazing support with friends, family, and supporters, even to now. Hearts, though, Hearts was a disaster, man. Hearts was absolutely, I mean, fucking I had sheriff officers at Tynecastle and everything searching for me. I mean, that's amazing. And listen, it's no with pride I say that's embarrassment, but you know what? That's what my life was. My life is upside down.
Well, it's funny you're saying like your better times were at Motherwell and Raith Rovers and what have you, but you moved for Raith Rovers to Morton for £150,000, right? Now that's madness. It's madness when you think about the Scottish game just now. I mean, I don't think that there's a team out with probably the top 5 in the Scottish Premier League that could afford a fee like £150,000. So for Morton to be able to pay that back in the day, you forget how much money was in the Scottish game back then, don't you?
I can remember Billy Stark signing me and sitting down with, and he sat down with Frank Connor, and Frank was a proper crazy character. Like, I mean, Billy Stark would come in the dressing room and come in the dressing room and say to the boys, listen, we've got a draw today, it was 0-0, it's no great, but you know what, let's get change, get to the road, have a good night tonight. And he'd walk out the door and Frank would lock the door. Frank Connor, when he couldn't walk, he could hardly talk, going out with his walking stick, going absolutely apeshit. Every single individual, and you were waiting, and I was always number 7 at most clubs I played at. You were always waiting because you used to go for one, and you think to yourself, please, Frank, didn't even mental. But I can remember they two sitting down in front of me, and Billy starts saying to me, you know what, it's actually embarrassing. This is what they were actually saying to me today. It's embarrassing that you're actually here and signing. He says, I can remember we were at Celtic, and because of politics, and I think it was because of my gambler, to be fair, you would have been at Celtic. Because of politics, you never got there. He says, it's embarrassing you're here. He says, listen, mate, Billy kept my book signing as well, my book launch, and Billy knew I had problems away for the football. He tried to change me. I just wasn't ready to change. And he was an amazing individual, great family guy. So was Frank, and I still keep contact with the two of them now, as I do Willie Davies. But I never sitting down in front of me saying, what the fuck are you doing at Morton? Jeez, you should be playing something like that, because I was buzzing to get to Morton. It was mere money and just crazy, man. Absolute mental.
Frank Connor, the only Old Firm manager with a 100% record. There you go. There you go.
Very true. Very
Kevin.
true. I think I get that from him about every time I speak to him as well.
So tell us this one, and you mentioned previously before we started recording that you didn't have a great time under Tommy McLean as a manager. What was the reason for that? Was it? I always thought Tommy McLean came across as a cantankerous bastard, to be honest with you.
You know what? By the way, he was only my manager for 3 weeks. He came into Raith. He came in. Jimmy Thompson was the manager. Then Ian Munro came in. No, sorry. Thingby came in for 2-3 days, and he went away to United. He got offered the job at United. He went away to United, but I don't know. You know what? And the older you get as well, when you can see, he was just old school. He wasn't a bully, but he verged on. And that, by the way, I wouldn't listen to anybody shite. It wouldn't matter what anybody was saying to me. Everybody kind of used to be scared of a lot of people like that. That didn't bother me. I was above all that. I wasn't above all that, but I thought I was. And I wouldn't listen to anybody's shite, to be honest. And I don't know. For me, he was very old school, very didn't bring the best out in the boys. But you know what? He's done amazing with his football career at the end of the day. I just wasn't in a position to listen probably to him. So I'll take my hat off to him and Jim McLean. They done brilliant for football back in the day. It's just football's evolved now. It's a lot more.
Aye.
I mean, you wouldn't have got away with a lot of the things that these boys got away with back in the day. You wouldn't have got away with them nowadays. Can't say I'm wrong nowadays.
So we were saying that. It's like, I think that's a big part of the problem with what happened with Celtic this season.
Yep.
You know,
I totally agree. I mean, it's strange to see Celtic in the state they're in now. Just, it's a shame. Well, I mean, it's a shame as well. I mean, I'm a jambo, but it's probably a shame for. I mean, Rangers have done amazing this season. I'm not really a Celtic or a Rangers. I didn't really follow any teams now, to be fair, but Rangers have done amazing. Steven Gerrard's done amazing. It's just a shame to see Celtic in the state they're in, because the quality of the players that are there now are just. I was lucky, and there'll be a lot of people who'll never get the opportunities I've played against Gaza, Loudrop, De Canio, Cadets, Larsons, Van Bronckhorst. I've played against all the greats that the balls, you're never going to get the opportunities in Scottish football that I've
no chance.
Been lucky enough. Gaza, a lot of the players that I just can even get to spend. I got to spend 5 minutes with Gaza as well before he played us. Rangers were playing Raith, actually scored as well. And just I used to go to do some peddling on the bike before I used to go to the warm up at Raith, and he'd come in and sit and speaking to him for 5 minutes. And honestly, I was gobsmacked. Probably. I never ever found myself getting starstruck because I thought I was better than everybody else. Believe me, I wasn't. I was just an actual tit. But he came in and actually we were speaking about his life and his wife and Kit, just family, and and then you know what, we came out, and after about 15 minutes, Tony Rougier ran into the goalkeeper Theo Snelders, and the ball came away to the side, and I hit it for a way out wide and scored. And we were all celebrating, they were all jumping and doing everything. I was walking back to the halfway line, and he said to me, "You can't. If I knew you were going to score, I wouldn't have fucking spoke to you earlier." And I thought, even to this day, I mean, just him and Ali McCoy, they were just sitting laughing. And I thought, you know what a legend. He was a proper legend, man. I love the guy. Brilliant.
You know what? It's funny. I know I'm going to get slated here because I always say I used to go and watch teams, right? But one of my dad's best pals was Peter Heatherston, right?
Yeah, brilliant legend.
Right, and when Peter was at Raith Rovers, I used to go to Starks Park quite a lot, right?
Great lad.
Tony Rougier was an absolute fucking baller, wasn't he? What a player Tony Rougier was, man.
Brilliant.
Honestly, it's funny you mention him there.
But he was so laid back. He was horizontal. I mean, even people giving him abuse. I can remember managers wanting to put a rocket up his arse to try and get him to. He'd more ability than. But by the way, Peter Heatherston's a great lad as well. Brilliant boy.
We're talking earlier on in the teammates bit you were going on about the goalie Andy Goram as well. Did you have a sort of relationship with him? Was it at Motherwell that you played alongside him?
I mean, what I loved about the goalie was, you know what, he was a proper, like, I mean, you're going to be starstruck. You see him, you're going to be starstruck. I mean, I came from playing like first division. I'd had a shot in the Premier League with Raith. You're going and you're walking in and seeing Andy Goram. I mean, he was a proper legend. I've watched him, Ken, and seen this boy that's, you know what I loved about him, and even to this day, it means even more to me now. My mum and dad used to come to the games and used to sit in the tea lounge. Mum and dad were really, really quiet people. And he used to come in and he used to sit, my cousin and that, and talk to my dad. And I thought, you know what, that
goes a long way, doesn't it?
Oh, listen, that for me, forget his football ability. That for me, that's priceless, because there's no lot of people that would ever do that. We had a lot of stars at Motherwell at the time as well. And Don Goodman, I mean, these boys were at my wedding. Jed, Don, Andy Goram, they were all at my wedding. Kind of boys took their time to come up from doing south to come into the wedding. And the goalie was just, and you know what, I had kind of the same. He lived behind this big mask as well. I never ever probably knew how big Andy Goram was, man. But we used to go for nights out. He couldn't go into Glasgow. I used to go into all these wee dingy places with all these old men playing dominoes and all that. All the boys were away carrying on with women and all that. I used to sit with the goalie because I felt for him. He couldn't go into Glasgow for getting abuse, and he just sees a goalie, but he was absolutely different world.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Tell me this
my
one.
hero.
Tell me this one, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Right, over the past few weeks, Grado and Stephen have started to see Alan McGregor through these legendary spectacles, right? Are you the same as me? I don't think Alan McGregor is even close to Andy Goram. I genuinely don't.
You can't say he's no close.
What you need to remember is Gorham done it in a different time when they were playing against much better opposition, week in, week out, right? Gorham was the top of the class every fucking week. Top of the class every week. McGregor's doing it against a lower level of competition. I'm sorry.
He does it in Europe.
Aye, against a lower level of competition. Gorham was doing it in the Champions League.
Aye, but McGregor done it in the Champions League as well. McGregor done it in the Champions League as well.
Turn that up, you.
I would say
you can't say that he's no close to it. That's what
I would say Alan McGregor this year has been absolutely phenomenal. Listen, you watch legends. There's been legends on the telly being asked the same question, and they're all humming and hawing. And I know Griggsy as well. I know him really well as an Edinburgh boy as well. So for me, the Rangers will never ever have another Andy Goram. Just my personal opinion. By the way, Griggsy's a wonderful goalkeeper.
Oh, don't get me wrong, he is a tremendous goalie. I hate him.
Andy Goram. Andy Goram was. And see, the funny thing about Andy Goram is cut with the same cloth as Griggsy as well. You lose goals in training. They would both. They chase you about the puck. I had as many arguments with the goalie as well, because I wasn't their trainer either. And you get a goal away and he'd be sitting shouting at you and be like, who the fuck were you shouting at? Know what I mean? They hated getting beat. They hated losing goals. But you know what? The goalie never turned up. The goalie was at Bevian that hardly ever turned up for training. He'd be Bevian all week. And Stevie Woods would train him like a bear all week and doing amazing. And the goalie would turn up on Saturday morning and play on a Saturday, and he would be phenomenal. If the goalie had a better attitude, no regards, I'm talking about away from football. If he had a better attitude, the goalie would have been away to the world. He would have been the world's best. The goalie was the way he lived his life and the way he was nothing short of a miracle. He was phenomenal. I've been lucky. I had Anthony Emmy, like Craig Gordon. I've been lucky enough to play with a lot of good goalkeepers. Nobody will ever touch a goalie. Different world.
I think he was the best player, the best goalkeeper in the world at one point. I genuinely do think he was the best goalkeeper in the world at one point.
I think he's the best goalie in the world right now.
Best drinker.
So you played under Craig Levine. Now we've had Craig on the show, and his public persona is definitely different to what we encountered on the show. He was funny. His part was magic. Was he like that in the dressing room? Was he more laid back than his sideline performances let on? Nah,
the managers. Craig was. But I will have to say as well, when you're sitting talking about earlier, he's the hardest guy I ever met in my life with. He is I can remember going to watch him against Raith, and I can remember Graham Hogg hitting him an absolute belter. He never moved. He hit him once and knocked him clean out. His tune got sent off.
That's on YouTube. We spoke to him about that, didn't we?
He was a machine. He was a machine. He was hitting a speedball, like very, 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 very scary individual. By the way, you wouldn't want to get. I've watched him have a few barneys with a few of the boys as well, and by the way, all the boys having to try to drag him back. He's crazy, by the way. He's so different away from football. He's a genuinely lovely guy who has got a really dry, good sense of humour as well. Aye. But no, when he's in the football, he's kind of mundane, and he wasn't. He was a right serious kind of, but he's different away from football. He's actually a really nice guy.
He doesn't know anything about football, because we do a quiz at the end of this show and he's at the bottom of the fucking list.
I've thought to go.
Oh, right. So
Did you ever get abuse from fans when you played? Did the fans
Oh,
ever? Aye.
me, fuck, I got abuse every week, man.
How
I
did you
can
do it? Did
remember.
you ever take it the wrong way or what?
Oh no, I loved all that. I loved it. I used to be the part of it. No, I wanted it to be about me. That thing with my ego as well. I can remember we were playing. I'd never played with Hearts. This was like back in the day when I was at where was I? I was at Motherwell when we were going. It was first time I played it. First time I'd ever been at Easter Road playing it as well. And everyone in Edinburgh knew as soon as I started playing with St Johnstone, I was in a date. I was telling them how much I was a jambo, and I can remember we went to play Easter Road, and Scott Leach was playing with Motherwell at the time as well. And Scott Leach had played with Hearts for years and years. And before we went out, he's like, "Oh wait, you hear the abuse I get here and all this?" And I says, "By the way, I'll get more abuse than you'll ever get." He's like, "No, listen to me." And goes out there to warm up. We're running over the pitch, and he starts singing, "You Hearts bastard, you." And Leachy's sitting saying to me, "I told you." I says, "They're actually shouting to me." And so Leachy's like pointing, and he's actually talking about me, or are you talking about Kevin Twaddle? You're a wanker. I was hated by the Hibbies, but it's bizarre because I mean I've spent a lot of time with a few players away from football and that level, and I've spent a lot of time watching Hibs as well. And people can forget, and football's great at the time. I love taking abuse. I loved it. I used to, even just when they were shouting, you knew that when you were doing really well, people were always going to give you abuse. If you weren't getting your name shouted, then you probably weren't doing as well as what you should have been.
I definitely know, but we're getting back to what we were talking about previously, with regards to your book that you had brought out. Now, a lot of people see you as a inspiration writer, and a lot of people have gone through gambling issues within Scottish football. Like, for example, Brian Rice went through a wee bit of trouble at a point in time. Have you ever taken it upon yourself? And I remember you talking about sponsorship and stuff like that, and obviously that goes through like Narcotics Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous as well. Have you ever taken it upon yourself to kind of like approach any of these people and kind of give them that crutch that maybe they need with regards to the gambling or anything at all like that?
Well, through obviously going through this programme as well, part of your step 12 is going and helping other people as well. So I have two sponsors now that one's just actually through the programme. He's just spent the last 9 months going through the programme, changed his life about. He's a walking miracle, man. But I mean, I do that with the football as well. And by the way, I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm the inspiration. Like I put my story out there. I just wanted people to know, you know what, there is help out there.
But that's inspiring, mate.
Exactly, that's you're hiding your light under a bushel there, mate. To be honest with you, because there's so many people that feel as if that they've got nobody to turn to, and when they see stories like yours coming out, you know, and they're in the position where they can get in contact with you, you know, like maybe like an ex-footballer or a manager or something like that. All it takes is for them to see that and then go, right, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. You know,
but you know what? I feel for people in life. I'm only an inspiration because I played football. I didn't want to be an inspiration because I played football. The only reason my story's out there and the only reason it's became huge to everybody is because I played football.
But you're using it for the right purposes, Kev.
I suppose I'm, but you know what? I think I'm far from an inspiration. I just think, listen, I take inspiration from people that have learned how to run and get fit again and be fit and healthy and be a good person.
But I'll tell you what, they won't see themselves as inspirations either. So you need to take the credit where it's due, and I think that that should be part of your 12 steps, mate. Take the credit where it's due. When you've done something right, take the plaudits for it.
No, I get. Listen, I get that. If I ever do well and I'm deserving it, I get it from my sponsor. But it doesn't come out very. It doesn't come out very regular. No, you didn't do it for. I know back in the day I would have done all these things for the wrong reasons, but I didn't do it today for to be an inspiration or for to be a great person, or I just want to help people. You know what, there's nothing better in life than being able to say to somebody, listen, if you're struggling today, you know what, I'm here, you want to come for a wee cup of tea, or but I didn't think that's inspirational. I think the people who are inspirational are people who sit and say, you know what, I need a wee bit of help today. I'm really struggling in life. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't ken where to...
Well, that was you though.
That was me back in the day, but listen,
people, I'm sure trying to ram this down your throat. You're an inspiration, right? Shut up.
You know what, I would just rather be seen the day as being, you know what, a nice guy, and And if I can help anybody, I'll help absolutely anybody at the end of the day. I mean, I've went through a life rip the piss out of everybody, so it's nice today to be. It's nice to be the day just to be me, because you live with this persona, as I say, today in a book or playing a football player, or I'm just me at the end of the day. I want to be the most thing that's important to me is I want to be the most amazing dad in the world, and that's all that's important to me.
I think that's the ending to that, too, isn't it?
Well, I was just going to ask you one more thing before we end. You mentioned previously that you had lost your relationship with your parents and stuff like that. Is everything back on track now? Is everything sorted?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much got that back right away, to be honest with you. My family are everything, man. See my wife, my wee girl, my mum and dad, my sister, my niece. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. What I've got today, I mean, you couldn't pay for it. It's just I feel so much gratitude for. And I'm glad I'm in a headspace and in a place where I can be peaceful and serene and I can see all the things that are, because I'm not young anymore. I'm 49 and still got a wee bit in me, but
So every week on Fit by Daft, we put our Scottish football knowledge to the test, our guest football knowledge to the test, right? So David Martindale, here's a couple of scores, right? He got 16. In joint second, it's John Sutton and Chick Young with 15. Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley are in third with 14. And then we've got Jamie Langfield on 12, Matt Reynolds on 10, Negri's on 5, Barry for EastEnders is on 4. And at the bottom, it's a tie between Peter Lovencrans, Derek Johnson, Levine and Mixu Patalainen. Is it MD do you think you would like to beat, Kevin?
I've got to be honest with you, I'm 49 and I would say before we even start the quiz, a wee bit dementia fucking hang me down a wee bit. So to be fair, the questions, if any David numbers in gambling, 20 out of 20, but
right.
General knowledge of football, no great. But let's go for it.
We'll get a bash. So there's 90 seconds on the clock. You can't pass, right? So you must give an answer. You can't pass. So even if your answer, whatever pops in your head, just give an answer.
Go.
Right. You want to do the questions too?
I'll do the questions this week then. Right. John, do we have 90 seconds on the clock, sir?
We do.
Kevin Twaddle, your time starts now. Who just won the April Player of the Month?
Ryan Kent.
Name one Scottish team with athletic in their name.
Forfar.
Motherwell's Devante Cole is the son of which English striker?
Andy Cole.
How much did Raith sign you for?
100 and... You just told me 125,000.
Which club did Hibs sign Kevin Nisbet from?
Raith.
Who finished second bottom of the championship?
Morton.
Which English team did Albion Ajeti join Celtic from?
Sheffield United.
Who did Raith face next in the championship playoffs?
Dundee.
Which club did you only make one appearance for?
St Mirren.
In what year did Stevie Clarke become Scotland manager?
2019.
Which Norwich player will miss out in the Euros due to injury? For Scotland.
Don't know, Charlie Mulgrew. It's not. But anyway,
Who scored the second goal for St Johnstone in their cup semi-final?
The boy scored the free kick. Kevin Twaddle. Wrong.
In what year did you join Motherwell?
1989.
Name any Scottish club Paul Hartley has managed.
He's Cove Rangers.
Which European country does Ryan Gould play his football in?
Time.
Portugal.
That wasn't too bad, mate.
No bad.
Not bad, mate.
A decent effort.
Craig Levine must be thick as fuck.
Yeah. After what you've told us, I wouldn't be saying that to his face.
No, I wouldn't tell him his face, but we'll cut that bit.
Right, I'll go through the raw answers with you, Kev. Kel Lafferty won April's Player of the Month. Raith apparently signed you for £80,000.
It was Martin that signed you for 150.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Morton, sorry.
Yeah.
Kevin
Nisbet signed to Hibs from Dunfermline because he went Raith to Dunfermline, then Dunfermline to Hibs.
Oh, yeah.
West Ham, that's where Celtic got Ajeti from. Only one appearance for Ayr on loan, is that right?
Oh, yeah. On loan, aye.
Aye.
There you go.
It was Kenny McQueen that is going to miss out in the Euros because of injury. It was Glenn Middleton that scored St Johnstone's second goal in the Cup semi-final at the weekend. But aside from that, sir, you got everything right. So you are on 8 points.
Not too bad, mate.
Decent.
Brilliant.
Superb.
I'm happy with that. Thank you.
8, so you're there. Well, you've done better than Barry Feastenders and Marco Negri, so there we go, mate. Brilliant.
I wish I'd done better than Marco Negri in the bedroom department anyway.
Right, Kevin, thanks very much, mate. Cheers for your time. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, mate.
Kevin, you've been an inspiration.
Brilliant, you've been an inspiration.
You're going to be sending me messages on that now, that inspirational chat. Before I know it, I'll be running about thinking I'm big Kevin Twaddle again.